Hey guys, we're live. We're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is the Upstate Pickers. How are you doing today?
Doing well, man. Thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to be on the show, man.
You're welcome. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and tell them what it is that you do.
So my name's Toby. I am a full-time reseller and YouTuber. I just started my YouTube channel about a month and a half ago. I live in Spartanburg, South Carolina, in the upstate of South Carolina. I've been reselling for about 3 years now, and full-time. Me and my wife are both full-time, and we really enjoy it.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So I
Yeah.
wanted to say hello real quick to the ATL Flippers in the chat. He says, "What's up, everybody?" So we're
So, man.
live. If you guys have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. So you live in South Carolina and you're a full-time reseller now, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you've been reselling now for about 3 years. What are some of the main items that you go looking for to resell? Like, do you have a certain niche that you're looking for,
Yeah,
or what would you
I
say?
have like a lot of these. These are called Funko Pops.
Yeah.
This is a $1 billion market. It's Funko Pop. It's $1 billion market. They have exclusive releases. They had one today. It's in one of my videos that I'm making where there was a little book bag that's like a limited edition. We pay like $40, resold for 160 within 5 minutes. So I really focus. I wouldn't say I focus on them, but I know a lot about Funko Pops. But I really like to sell action figures, WWE type of, you know what I mean, like kind of more collectible items. But I do sell shoes, VHS, video games, you name it, everything. But I really like to focus on the collectibles, as I know a lot about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing is about those Funko Pops is you have to like put them in like a protective case when you're shipping them so they don't get damaged. And
Actually, here.
yeah, so that way, whenever you get ready to ship it out, you have something to protect it with. But to be honest, most of the time when I see them or come across them, I'll be out somewhere and I'll see them and I'll scan them on eBay, and they're
No,
like $6, $7, $8, and it's
yeah,
like, it's like almost not even worth my time. Like they're asking $5, and it sells on eBay for
yeah.
$7, $8. So I'm just like, some people tell me that the stuff's worth a lot, but maybe it's just like limited
Well,
edition items.
yeah. Well, basically, since like 2016 and like from 2010 to 2016, the Funko Pops, they're vaulted, means they're not making them anymore. Those are the ones that are worth a lot of money. Whereas like newer common ones, like there's a new Avatar Pop that just came out, the Blue Spirit Pop. I paid $15 for it, and it's selling for 125, right? Where the common version, I paid $12, and it only resells for around 20. A lot of them are different. But like I say, like it's super easy. You just, like you said, you scan the barcode. But if you kind of have a general idea of what to look for, Funkos is super easy. The biggest issue is shipping them, honestly, because if you don't ship it correctly, they're going to get destroyed. And people who are collectors, they are very, very serious about the condition. So that's one thing I would say. If you're going to sell Funkos, make sure to pick you up some protectors. If not, you better have great packaging. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the post office sometimes will destroy your items. I shipped out this CD last week, and it was brand new in the plastic, and it
Oh
was like
man,
a dual case thing. So I was like, okay, I got a padded, envelope. I'm good. It's still in the shrink wrap. I should be good. So I sent it there, and the customer sent me a photo, and they're like, dude, the post office like destroyed my case because the
it's happened a
case
lot.
was all like cracked and everything. And I was like, okay, well, what do you want? It was like a $20 sale. I had like maybe 40 cents tied up in it, and it sold for $20. And I was like, well, what do you want to do? You want me to send you a refund? What do you want to do? And they're like, well, no. They're like, all the CDs aren't damaged. It's all brand new in good shape. They're like, I just wanted to let you know it was damaged. And I'm like, well, thanks for letting me know. Because most of the time, when you ship something out in a padded envelope, most of the stuff, if it's in a big case like this, you're good. But if it's in a smaller, like little, those little jewel cases, they're not like made to like get pounded on and and all that. So yeah, stuff gets damaged in the post office all the time. Let me say hello here to a few people in the chat. We have the Cherry Picker Flipper is here. I wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics. Heath is in the house. The Selling Sniper says my cell phone's at 2%. If I missed the live, I'll watch it again later. Yeah, I understand, man. My cell phone died yesterday. I fell asleep, took a nap, and my phone died, and people were calling me like, Jeff, what happened to you? I'm like, I'm good. Took a nap, and my phone died. I'm good. I'm good. I wanted to say hey to Jen's Closet Gems is here. I wanted to say hey to Cherry Picker Flipper is here. Says, where do you source your items from? So tell me a little bit about that. Where are some of the main places you go sourcing at? You shop at Goodwills, thrift stores, yard sales? Like where do you like to go sourcing at?
So I would say 80% of the items that I sell are from Goodwill. I have a thrift store near me. It's called Brown Roof. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. It's like they have a couple of them in my area. I love to go there because they don't even have set prices. So a lot of times I can negotiate, you know what I mean? They're a thrift store that's not a charity. I love to go to Salvation Army, the Goodwill bins. I love to do Amazon return pallets, as well as I love to source items online and try to get replenishable sources. That's one thing that I've been trying to get into, to resell on Amazon, like private labeling. Not a lot of people talk about. That's something I'm trying to get into. With a couple products, I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. But I get a lot of my items from thrift stores, and especially Brown Roof. I mean, they've been my plug for a while. And, I'd go to occasionally I'd go to the flea market, but recently I've been selling at the flea market. I just released a video today. I may have to re-upload it about Goodwill. But in my area, man, the Goodwills have been suffering. They just keep cherry picking everything from the Goodwills. So there hasn't been a lot of items. Like I usually go 5 days a week, and I was talking to an associate, and they're taking items out of my store to send to shopgoodwill.com. So, I've been really trying to focus on online sales, like buying stuff online and trying to resell it. You know what I mean? Because not always will you find stuff in these thrift stores.
Yeah, I was going to say that when you guys go to a lot of like Goodwills and some of these places, a lot of the times, like you said, they can cherry pick items and put them on shopgoodwill.com, but they'll also will raise the prices of some of their items. So you may go buy.
I go over, man. Like it's actually getting ridiculous. And I don't know if I'm in South Carolina, so the wage limit, like the wages are different. Inflation's different everywhere. Where I live, things are generally cheaper. Like cost of living is like way cheaper than somewhere like New York. I mean, it may be a fifth of the cost, right? But our Goodwill prices, I mean, I was in a Goodwill where the average shoe price was $10. So, it's kind of getting crazy, really.
Yeah, like I said, some of the prices they're starting to go up. Just for example, let's say like a PlayStation 2 controller, I would pick them up at the thrift store for $1 or $2. Now sometimes you'll get there and maybe the price is $4, $5, $6, and it's the same item and it's the same store, but it's like, oh, well, this is a video game controller and accessories. So they start, slapping on higher ticket prices. So I've been doing the same thing you've been doing, which is you guys can go online, buy stuff in bulk. Like, let's say I bought, 1,000 CDs for $400. They're all new in the shrink wrap. So then that way my buy cost is 40 cents a piece. So, even if I turn around and sell them for $10 a piece times 1,000, you turn your $400 investment into $10,000 worth of merchandise, and it shows up at your door in a week. So if you guys can do that and kind of, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with going to thrift stores and yard sales and Goodwills, but it's like when you're out here hunting and you're out here and you get a hold of some of this merchandise to resell, like I said, you may come home with 1 or 2 items. You may come home and be like, hey, I found 5 items, but then they raise the prices of them. Plus you're having to wait in line to check out and all that. Go ahead. I know you wanted to say something.
I agree with like everything you just said, like 1,000%. Another thing I would say, if you're going to start out as a reseller, and there may be resellers in here, I guarantee there are. The best tip that I can kind of piggyback of what he was saying is you want to create like a streamline of your income. Like, if you're going to buy 1,000 CDs, right? That you can use automation and list those without having to do anything. Just take the same picture. And then that can create you a baseline. So when your sales are up and down, whatever you choose to buy, that can kind of create a steady income. If it's a good item and it's a good price, it will sell every single day. You just have to figure out what that, the price and item is. But like I say, creating that baseline of your income as a reseller that was the number one important thing that I've ever learned, is trying to create like product or find products that I can buy a lot of, like 10,000 of, you know what I mean? But not everyone can do that. So some people have to start small, but if you want to grow, I could definitely recommend that. That will help you out a lot in your sales. All
right, cool. Let me say hello here to a few people in the chat. The Selling Sniper says he was filming at the bin store and with his phone. He says hello, Upstate Pickers. LKL Graphics is in the house. We have the ATL Flipper is here. Jen's Closet Gems is here. AR Edwards is in the house. Richard is here and Jen's Closet Gems is here. So we have some questions here in the chat from the ATL Flipper. He wants to know, what was your biggest flip? So what is like one of your biggest flips that you've done so far on eBay since you've been reselling?
Well, I think one of the biggest flips I did may have been a Funko Pop. But I'll get into that. But my craziest flip that I thought was, I found a Scooby-Doo stuffed animal that was probably like 5 feet tall. I paid 50 cents for it. And for me, like, I like to diversify my page. I'm Macari. So my Macari page, I had like a bunch of, like, honestly, it was one of those days where I just got to list as much stuff as possible. I ended up listing like a Scooby-Doo. I ended up listing for like $100, paid 50 cents. It sold within 10 minutes. And I was just laughing because I was just, if I just start listing these things, that's how you make the money. But I had a Funko Pop. Crazy story. It was a limited edition. I paid $15 for it. I sold it for $500. The buyer got it and said it was damaged. Requested a return. Macari denied the return. Macari did not allow it. Said it wasn't damaged. So I got paid for it. Somehow he sent it back to me in the mail, saying he didn't want it. Listed again for I think it was, no, not 500. It was maybe 400, 300, 350 to 400. Resold it. So I sold the same thing twice. Almost made $1,000. That was my craziest flip. I don't know, man. That's just one of those things. Sometimes it happens like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you can sell anything on eBay. Probably my biggest flip was I sold a pickup truck on eBay for 20 grand. So, you know, you just never know. Yeah, so you just never know. So let me say hello here to Jen's Closet Gem. She says, how long have you been doing this full time? And why did you decide to go full time as a reseller?
3 years. I started in I've been reselling my whole life, really, but I'm 23 years old. I started when I was like 19. Just to give you guys a little background, I was working at a call center that was about 40 minutes where I lived. Car broke down, got fired, lost my job, and really I had no other choice. So what I had to do is I just started to walk the Salvation Army. And I was on another podcast, and I'll tell people this. I'll be completely honest. I had no money. So what I would do is I would go in there and I would just take pictures of items and just kind of hide them in the store and hoping they would sell. And I did that for about 3 months until I got up about $2,000. And then I just started just dominating. And that's kind of how I got started with reselling. I really had no other choice. And it was something where my mindset of working a 9-to-5 job, I just, you know, certain people can't do that. And instead of making excuses, like I was like, all right, I need to step up and figure something out. And that's kind of what I figured, you know, I had no other choice.
So so your car broke down, you lost your job, you needed to make some kind of income. So you were just like, hey, I gotta kick this reselling thing into gear. And so you would go to the thrift store, you would find items, you didn't even buy them yet, but you would just take photos, post them on your eBay store, and then whenever they would sell, you would go to the thrift store and hope that they were still there.
Not only that, I used to have to borrow money from my mom just to be able to afford to buy these things, because and not just to make it worse, I had a baby on the way, right? This was the storybook, like, rock bottom for me. And this is not like a little sad story. This is like, right now we're about to buy a house. Everything's good. We have completely changed our lives around with reselling. But yeah, like, I always look back and try to remind myself, like, I used to walk 7 miles a day just to get to the store. And now now I just get in my car and drive, you know what I mean? Like, things like that I used to take for granted, or I may take for granted, really propelled me to be successful. Those are the type of things that when you go through will make you a better person, you know what I mean? And a better reseller as well.
Yeah, I've definitely been there before when, you know, your car is in the shop or your car breaks down and all of a sudden you're having to, like, you know, get places on foot, or you're having to catch a Lyft or an Uber. And so I definitely have been there before. But let me catch a few questions here in the chat. We have a question from Richard is here. He says, can you give me some tips on how to pack a standard size action figure? So if you sold an action figure, how would you go about shipping it? Because you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, let me show you guys this right here. I'll show you guys 2 different action figures and how I would ship them differently, right? This is like a WWE. He just got fired, by the way, so this is going to go up in value. But this is cardboard box. This is a cardboard box, right? And it has this little extra thing. What I would do is, for this, I would wrap this completely in bubble wrap. And if I think this will fit in a priority shoe, like a shoebox, right? And it depends on where it's going, but generally this is almost a pound, right? So I would ship this first class inside of a 10 by 6. I think it's a 10 by 8 by 6 box that I got off eBay, right? Now smaller ones like this is a little bit smaller and a little bit less in weight. I would ship this in an 8 by 8 by, I think it's 8 by 8 by 5 box. I don't have them on me right now. And then I just wrap it in bubble wrap and just literally just put it in there. But I would definitely not ship this in a bubble mailer. This little part right here, the plastic part, will get completely destroyed. I tried loose out of the box action figures. I just recently sold one. If you wrap it in bubble wrap, you can use a poly bag. But if people really care about the cardboard and the plastic, but I wouldn't recommend shipping like super high, anything over like $20. I would not put in a poly bag because it probably will get damaged. But bigger pops that are, or not pops, bigger action figures that are bulky, a poly bag can save you on shipping a ton.
Okay, cool. The ATL Flipper says, I can't wait to watch your videos. Yeah, man. All the links are down below, which is YouTube and Instagram are in the description below. You guys want to go by and check them out. I wanted to say hey to Cherry Picker Flipper says, you can go to a pawn shop, put stuff on layaway, take pictures, and when it sells, pay off the layaway, and then ship the item, and you keep the profit, and it works. So, yeah, I haven't tried buying stuff and put it on layaway before at the pawn shop, but I have bought a lot of items at the pawn shop. If you guys go there and look, the pawn shops nearby my house, you literally can pick up DVDs new in the shrink wrap for 50 cents a piece. You can pick up CDs for a quarter or 50 cents, and you can look through there and find items that are like vintage as they don't make anymore that's still new in the shrink wrap. Like one of them I picked up for 50 cents last week and turned around and sold it within 24 hours for $40, and it was 50 cents. So if you just go in there and look, I mean, you could sit here and, like I tell you guys, you could just sit there and scan barcodes and look them up, and it'll tell you what it's selling for on eBay all day long. But I mean, if you pick up an item, let's say for 50 cents or $1, and you're selling it for 10, 15, 20 bucks, there's going to be margin there. Helen is here in the chat, says, wow, if there's a will, there is a way. And I wanted to say hey to Jen's Closet Gems. She says, I feel like people have much more appreciation for the good times when they experience bad times. Yeah, it's called life, And I wanted to say hey to AR Edwards. Vintage Flip says, Jen, this young man is way ahead of the curve. And I wanted to say hey to Prison to Profit. Hey, man, I just saw your video.
Channel, man. I love him, by the way. He's awesome.
I just saw your video on Instagram. So he always makes me smile every time I see him. And I wanted to say hey to Nakoma Fines.
Love him as well.
All right, so talk a little bit about your YouTube channel, because we have people in the chat that they can't wait to watch your videos. So what type of content do you usually make on your YouTube channel? Do you do a lot of sourcing? Do you do what sold videos? What are some of the videos that you make on your channel? Go ahead.
So today I just dropped a video on Goodwill. In my opinion, it's a video that I kind of go into like not wages, but I really talk about the truth about Goodwill and sourcing, because I see a lot of resellers, they don't really keep it 100 with people. They don't keep it honest. Most of my videos are me going to thrift stores and buying things, showing you how much I paid for them, showing you how much they sold for. I do videos like how to become a better reseller, but my channel is mainly focused on reselling, and you're going to be watching me go to yard sales, thrift stores, and just source items. That's really what my content is generated around. But I really want to try to make maybe I'll make another channel, but I really want to make like content catered to people who strictly want to learn how to do certain items. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just launched a new video today. I started YouTube about a month ago. Got like 160 subs. I appreciate everyone who's checked me out. I've been shown a lot of love. Like I've been a reseller for 3 years, but the YouTube to me was kind of more of a thing to do for activity. I stopped playing basketball, and I was like, well, I might as well just record this, because I've always watched Harry Tornado, who's a YouTuber, and I'm super inspired by him. And like I do the same things he does, but I'm just not recording. I was like, well, I might as well just record it. and that's kind of what I got started with. But a lot of my content is catered to people who love reselling. 3 videos every single week. I'm trying to pump them out as fast as possible. But the content, if the content's not good, I'm not going to put it out. So you can bet your butt the content will have value. You know what I mean? A lot of people I've seen, because I've been on a couple live shows here, and some people I've realized like they don't really keep it honest like about their business and how much money they're making and what's good and what's not. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of one thing that I want to be different. Like I don't want to make it seem like I'm something that I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you. I was going to ask you about one of your videos. You recently bought a bunch of like electronics. You had a bunch of like DVD players and things like that. So talk to us a little bit about all these items that you bought recently to resell. How did you do on that haul? Did all of them work? Were they all in good condition? Have you sold any of them yet?
Yeah. So the crazy part is, man. So just to give anyone who doesn't know, I found a Facebook Marketplace. You got to go to Facebook if you want to be a reseller. Facebook Marketplace, you can sell a lot of stuff and find a lot of stuff. So I found a 60 to 50. It was like, I think it may have been a little more than 60, but some of them I just threw away because they were disgusting. I bought 60 DVD, VCR, combo players, receivers, and I ended up paying $120. So I got around $2 a unit. I haven't even listed them yet. And here's the kicker. My eyesight is terrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm having my brother list them all for me on my eBay store. I cleaned them up. You know, I tested most of them. Most of them worked. I want to say like probably 95% of them worked. They ejected, everything worked. So a couple of them didn't work, which was a bummer. I had a VHS DVD combo recorder that did not work. And that was one of my biggest things. That was one of the things I was like, all right, I have to get this. That was a deal breaker. But with parts, I'm pretty sure it still sells for like $50. So I expect to make around $1,200 after all fees from that haul. It was $120, and I literally just bought them all. But another thing I'll say, if you're going to buy huge electronics, do not put them in your house. Like, make sure they're in a garage or somewhere that's safe, because sometimes like they may have bugs in them, and like if you're buying like a huge, you never know. So like to put them somewhere else and clean them up a little bit. Definitely don't keep them in your house. But that was one of those things where it just kind of happened. Like I just checked Facebook and it was there, and I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's pull the trigger. This is easy profit. It's super easy just to look up the serial number and the model number and just I know there's an eBay app that I have. I'll probably have to tell someone about it. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, where you just type in the name and it's an app and it'll auto populate your description for you. Because a lot of times, man, like I have bad eyesight, so like I can't stare at my phone, and I try to do it on my computer, but I have an app that I tell them what it is and it'll kind of auto generate the description for my product, and then I just list it on eBay.
All right, cool. I wanted to say hey to Javela Flips. Annie is in the chat. Health and Money is here. We have Nicoma Fines is in the chat. Says it's a good community, so much positive influences. Yeah, I mean everybody in the community for the most part. I'd say 95% of the community is trying to help each other and have good positive vibes and influence on each other. The ATL Flipper says I play basketball too. He says he can dunk on you. And I wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics is here. And we have a question here from Bryan. He says, what is your take on cross-listing softwares? Do you recommend it? What other platforms do you sell on right now? Do you sell on Macari and some of these other platforms, or do you just sell on eBay?
So I sold on eBay originally, and then I stopped because eBay they were basically I had about 25 to 30 buyers who bought stuff from me and never paid, and eBay charged me the fees. And so I stopped selling on eBay for about a couple months. I just recently made a new account. It's going crazy right now in my eBay store. I got like 100 listings and I've sold like 50 of them. So it's unbelievable. But I mainly, like, just to be honest with you guys, like for me, I make most of my money on Macari and Facebook Marketplace and reselling in person. I resell at a Barnyard Flea Market is what it's called. And I met a person there who lets me sell. But just to give you guys a little background, last year I made around $20,000 on Macari. This year I made around $35,000 in 6 months on Macari. So if you're able to have automation, I think that's the question he asked, right? With cross listing,
Yeah, he has a question about cross listing. You know, they have some cross listing platforms that will cross list items for you.
Yeah, my favorite is Prime Lister. I don't know if that many people use it, but it's like I think the version where you want to cross list to eBay is like $30 a month. But the thing that I love about it is it sets automation, so you can set time periods. Like I said when we touched earlier about that baseline product, like if you buy 1,000 of one item, you can set automations to where at 8 a.m., at 12 p.m., at 3 p.m., it'll list the same item 25 times over and over and over. And you can say, so you can list 75 different, the same item 75 times in one day with an automation, and that will save you so much time. And for me, I found that I've made probably 90% of my sales I make are from the automation from Prime Lister while I'm sleeping. And that's the best part about it is once you create that automation and something happens, you're good to go. If something tragic or anything that you have to go do something, well, you're going to have these products listed, and that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I've heard of people using List Perfectly and some other apps and things like that. But me personally, I sell 95% of my merchandise on eBay. And I mean, you have to think about the user base. There's 187 million people of active buyers on eBay that have checked out and bought something in the past 12 months. So for my energy, instead of me crisscrossing and going to Macari and Poshmark and the other platforms, you may have one item. Let's say you have this one item and you have it listed on 5 different platforms. And then when the item sells, then you're having to go and unlist it from the other platforms that it's sold on. To me, I try to focus like, okay, what if instead of me doing that for one item and I did that to 5 different platforms, what if I just listed 10 items on eBay instead? I just feel that's just what it works for me. So I would just tell you guys, if you don't know, if you're on the fence about it, try it out and see if it works for you, because everybody is different. Try it out for 30 days. And if you don't like it in 30 or 60 days, if you don't see the results that you want, then skip it and do something else. Like, you're just going to have to try it and see what works for you. But me personally, I like listing items. I have this thing in my brain where it's like, okay, every time I list an item on eBay, I think about it as I'm depositing a check in my eBay bank account. So I'm like, okay, let's say I listed this item for $20. So I'm like, okay, I just deposited this $20 check in my eBay bank account, and then I'm waiting. And then whenever you hear a ka-ching, then that means that the item cleared the bank account, the funds are clear, and they're in your account now. So that's just the way I do to kind of get yourself motivated to list items. And like I said, I would rather have 10 items active on eBay listed as opposed to 1 or 2 items that are cross-listed on the 5 different platforms. But there are different ones out there. Like I said, I just told you guys about List Perfectly and some other ones you can try out. I would say try it for 30 days and see if you like it. If it's not worth the money and you're not seeing the return on your money, on your investment of time and capital, then drop it. You can just try it out and see what works for you. So we're going to say hello here to a few people in the chat. A.R. Edwards is in the chat. Keith is here. He says these live shows Jeff does are a great help. Well, thank you guys for coming by and hanging out with us today. We have Nakoma Fines is here in the chat, and we have the ATL Flipper is here. So since you've been a full-time reseller now for, let's say, three years now, what would be some tips or tricks, or do you have some knowledge or advice that you could go ahead and give people to help them out with their reselling business? Because I know me and you sell different type of merchandise, but this is still your full-time gig. So if I came to you and I said, hey, I'm having trouble, I need to generate more sales on eBay, what do I need to do? Tell us.
Okay, now I would try to strip back here what you were saying and try to, why do you need to make more sales? Like, what I would say, what is the motivation behind you needing more money, right? Whatever that motivation is, it needs to be center. Every single day you need to tell yourself, for me, my motivation to make more money is to buy a house. Some people, maybe for their kids. If you need to make more sales, I would say the first thing you need to do is you need to change your mindset on the way you view money. Money is a tool to help you. Money is not something that having more of it doesn't make you a better person. It's just a tool to help you. That would be the number one thing I could tell someone is once you change your mindset and try to budget your money better and learn and start to think different, that would be my number one. And number two is it's so easy to just look items up, right? You like you said with the DVDs, you could just scan the barcode. It tells you how much it sells for. And then there's other apps that you can look up, like I think Jungle Scout's one. You can look up the Google Trends and see how much of an item's selling. Do not go out and don't buy crap products. You know what I mean? Like if you started an eBay store today and you wanted to make more sales, you have to think to yourself, well, why am I not making sales? Is it my item description? Is it what I'm trying to sell? Try to find an item that a lot of people want and that you're comfortable with buying. And that's the best tip I can give anyone is the more research you do into different items, the better you're going to get. Because like I said, I sell a lot of Funko Pops, but I have a lot of broad knowledge on a lot of different things that I never knew about. You know what I mean? I never knew about Disney backpacks. Like they sell crazy. Like my wife, $40 and 120. You know what I mean? So educate yourself as much as possible. Watch other resellers. Look up brands. I would tell people maybe you should test yourself. Try to take out a piece of paper and write down 50 brands that you know people love. And as soon as you run out of brands, just start looking up random brands for clothing. You know what I mean? Or you go to a thrift store and just start writing down the names of the brands and learn these items. Because a lot of times I see people have these death piles because they buy things that they think are going to sell, but in reality, nobody even wants them. So knowledge and research and changing your mindset, I think is something that is really underrated. And especially for me, when I changed my mindset, it changed everything.
Yeah, guys, there are some things you can do if you're experiencing summer slowdown. There are some things that you can do on eBay to kind of stimulate your store. You could do promoted listings. You could run a sale on your eBay store. You can list more items. There are things that you can kind of do to kind of trigger to help generate more sales. But I mean, the main thing that I would say is just try to focus on listing more items because we're in August. Q4 is coming, right? So that's when most of these companies, most of these big people make their money is in Q4. So think about all the items you're listing now. You're getting ready for fourth quarter. When fourth quarter gets here, you're going to be cashing in. So just kind of stay focused and don't think about, well, I didn't make a ton of sales today or tomorrow or this week. Well, think about, hey, October, November, December, fourth quarter is coming, and you're going to make a bunch of sales coming up here in fourth quarter. So anyways, we had a great time with you coming on the show and hanging out with us today. Go ahead and tell everybody where they can check you out at on YouTube and Instagram.
So my name's Toby, but my channel is Upstate Pickers. It's the same Instagram, same YouTube. 3 new videos every week coming at you with content that if you're struggling or if you want to just relate or be entertained, I got you on those videos. Like I said, I'm new to YouTube, but I'm definitely motivated to give you guys good content. That's what it's all about. I want to say thank you for having me on, man. Just one last thing. Just like you said, when you're listing, just make sure you stay positive. Set a daily limit for what you're going to list. If you're going to list 10 things a day, make sure you do it every single day. That'll help you out with a lot of your sales. Create a structure around your reselling and stay positive. And just know that if you need help, there's a bunch of people out here who want to help you. And that's basically it. I really appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. We have a quick question here from Richard. He says, Jeff and Toby, when it comes to tax time, or is there anything you're allowed to deduct for hunting and reselling? Listen, I'm not a tax expert, so I don't want to give you any advice on your taxes, and then you get screwed up and say, well, some guy on the internet told me I can write this off of my taxes. But when you sign up for eBay, you're at 1099, okay? And so you're considered self-employed, okay? So when you're self-employed, there are a lot of different brackets, little buckets of things that you can write off that are considered business expenses. There's so much money you can write off for fuel costs. There's so much money of different things that you can write off. So I'm not going to give you any personal advice as far as taxes go because that's not my field of expertise. I'm not an accountant. But just talk to the people that is an accountant and say, hey, I signed up. I'm now a 1099. I'm independent contractor. I'm self-employed. What type of tips or tricks could you give me? Because they could probably give you 10 things that I can't even think about off the top of my head. But there are different things. Let's say if you have an office in your house, that might be, there's a portion of that you can write off on your taxes. Your cell phone bill. You're using your cell phone for business, for listing items and things. That could be a tax write-off. There is a whole bucket of things that you get as being self-employed that 1099 people or people that are W-2 employees don't get. So I would just say consult your tax advisor. I just gave you 2 or 3 off the top of my head. Like I said, your home office, your cell phone bill, fuel cost. There's a lot of different things that you could use, but I'm not going to tell you specifically because I'm not a tax accountant. That's not my area of expertise. So anyways, if you guys go by and check out our guests, all the links are down below. You can check them out. Full-time reseller here, Upstate Pickers. All his links to YouTube and Instagram are down below. Go by and check them out. Till then, I'll see you guys this weekend. I'm working on getting a guest for you guys this weekend. I'm not going to tell you who, but hopefully Friday or Saturday we'll have a big guest coming in this weekend. Till then, you guys have a great one, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Nice.